What's up, everybody, and welcome to this week's Swolecast. Listen, we've got an exciting show planned for you guys. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to everyone that has sent me congratulations. I don't know what I would do without all my people, and that's just how I want to open the show. It's like just a sincere thanks for everyone that was rooting me on last night in the Millie Maker contest on FanDuel. We got there. And finally, after 7 years of chasing it, I shipped a Millie Maker, and that's what it's really all about.
Yeah, Dave, I mean, I want to be the first person to congratulate you. To kind of watch your maturation as a DFS player over the years has been inspiring. And you took your lumps early on, and you just kept telling me, you're like, I'm an MME guy. I'm going to make this work. I'm going to get my exposures dialed down. I'm doing the hard work. And to just see it pay off in this way, and it couldn't happen to a better guy. And I'm just thrilled for you.
Well, you know, I mean, David took that time off during quarantine to work on his models. You know, some of us played League of Legends. Some of us were getting in best ball drafts. Some of us were playing CSGO, you know, Mexican soccer, and not Dave. Yeah. Not Socrdave. Dave he got in there. He worked on a leverage tool, and he really put his nose to the grindstone to ship a Millie Maker with 360 of his closest friends.
Yeah. And that's actually one of the questions I wanted to ask you, Dave, because, you know, as we know in MME, like the biggest thing to win $1 million is you got to remove dupes. You know, dupes are the biggest issue. Tell us how you were able to remove dupes in your lineup set and win $1 million.
I will just say that shout out to Lineup HQ on RotoGrinders. I just started messing with some player exposure, and then finally I was just like, screw it, I'm just going to do it, because FanDuel kept on like pushing back the start date, the lock time as well, to where it was like 12 minutes past whenever. And then we got news that Pat Beverly was going to play, and I had 85% RJax. And this is kind of like, you know, this is free for people wanting to know. This is how the sausage, you know, gets made. So when Patrick Beverly was announced that he was in, I did this super scientific method where I downloaded the CSV, and then I copied the ID, and then I just went random paste Patrick Beverly in because they were the same price, and I just pasted them in different lineups. So thankfully I did not paste him into the winning
coward.
lineup.
This is crazy. I
played 100% Reggie Jackson because I'm not a coward.
Do you know why that story is tilting for me, Dave? Is because I'm spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars out here subscribing to, you know, special game theory podcast series to make me a better DFS player. And then you're just giving the secret sauce away for free on the Swolecast. I mean, keep that stuff behind the paywall, Dave.
Hey, pockets on Swole. I do want to say there were some other people, you know, whenever I took Davis under my wing when we started Fantasy Insiders, I wanted him to experience victory as well. I used to stake the fella back in the day, and he's like, "Oh wow, I just made my first four-digit GPP win," and I want to say, like, basically mentoring Davis to the point where he could ship a Millie Maker with me
Now you know this is not the first time I've been involved in $1 million score though.
When has it been? Like with your name on it?
Yeah, when Goulet and I won.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Goulet was a Fantasy Insider subscriber, and he reached.
Hey, look, man, I was repping the Fantasy Insiders Avatar on FanDuel. That's how long it's been since I played. I was repping the brand, buddy.
I was too, and then someone sent me a screenshot, and I'm like, "Oh, this is my FI logo. I got to make corporate happy," and so I changed it to the RotoGrinders logo.
I think we do have to question your judgment for staking Davis. I mean, what's going through your head? Thinking you're going to see an ROI on that, Dave.
Not only did he make over $10,000 in that exchange, but I also was not smart enough to know then that exchange needed to be $10.99, and I got stuck with the tax bill. And Kitchen rode off like a champ.
Wow, so Kitchen played you.
I was 21. I had no idea what I was doing. I just sent Kitchen this bank wire.
No, it was a long con because it kept FI afloat and it kept Davis. Davis got the checks. Like he was like the Bobby Bonilla of FI. He just kept on getting monthly checks, even when he probably shouldn't have gotten monthly checks. So he came out okay.
An inaccurate statement.
I couldn't also help but notice that Tanner Tolbert was part of the Millie Maker crew. See, to me, if I were you guys, I know it's exciting to be a Millie Maker winner, but it's kind of like when Fantasy Mansion is pushing robust RB and then his strategy is directly aligned with what the counselor is doing. Like, do you guys maybe kind of question your process if you're looking around the room at the other people that had the same process to get to that point and you just see Tanner over there and you're like, maybe I'm not in the best company right now.
I don't know. Like Dink had the lineup. A couple of sharps did.
Really, all you had to do to have that lineup was just if you didn't play Zion, you were locked in.
It was. I mean, yeah, both Fish and Sharps landed on it, and Davis and I are examples of that. So. Yes, for those that wanted to know, we did split the Millionaire Maker on FanDuel, and I was just glad it won, to be honest, because I'm pretty sure that one of the ones that I put Patrick Beverly in for RJax was the one that was like up like 13K, and that wouldn't have been me, and so it'd have been like a whole lot of regrets. But after the contest ended, it kept on going. Like my results kept on like swapping, and it was just like I couldn't handle it basically.
Well, so I saw there was this one funny tweet that popped in my timeline. Another person who was part of that train up top, and he had a tweet early where he was like, "I think I'm about to win the Millie on FanDuel." Holy shit! And like everyone's replying, they're like, "Oh my god, we get it!" And then his follow-up post was like, yeah, I'd split it with like 400 people. But he was just so excited because I guess he hadn't seen all the dupes down below.
At one point, one of the lineups that I was in first, and it was $350. Like so there had been like 10,000 people with that lineup. But yeah, I did get a message on Mike, or I'm not going to say this guy's name, but he messaged me on Instagram. And he said, hey, are you the person that won off FanDuel last night? I just want to know if you win a lot on there.
You should take this guy under your wing and mentor him. He sounds like he wants a stake.
Davis 2.0.
Maybe he too can win a millie.
Speaking of Davis 2.0, can we talk about how Jack Miller has just been eerily quiet since we just absolutely put him in a body bag?
Yeah. I saw him get some pub on the Chasing Ships pod that you had with Siegel.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Everyone wants to keep kind of bringing him up, but I feel like that ship has sailed. I mean, he had his chance.
He did. He had his opportunity.
We were ready to launch him into a new stratosphere in a way that no Silva tweet could ever do it. And he thumbed his nose at it.
I don't know about that, buddy.
The Swolecast bump?
The Swolecast bump.
Silva tweets move the needle.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen James Conner as ADP, so I agree with that.
I had to take James Conner in a draft in an underdog draft the other day, and it was like my only share of him. And it was
my dopamine receptors are really going through it right now because I was just hammering out the drafts. I was getting like 5 or 6 in a day, was registering for some high stakes ones. And this Damien Williams news, it is like getting a bucket of cold ice dumped on my junk. It's really bumming me out.
And the Keyshawn Vaughn, as far as
it's fine.
Yeah. Just Keyshawn Vaughn. But with the LeSean McCoy news, that was some ice dumped in my junk, Davis. So maybe it was like the fantasy karma coming back around and rewarding us for all the pain that we had been through the past couple of days. So let's just rewind it for a second. Let's start. Go ahead.
I just do want to say, I mean, you just mentioned, you guys each have your pet players, and the cold water was thrown on their draft stock by these, respective, news. Do you guys think that this is kind of, karmic, comeuppance for why you had to win the Millie? It's like they took this away from you, and then in return, the DFS gods wanted to bless you with a Millie Maker win.
It's literally what I just said.
I mean, I think at this point, like I would probably trade it. I'd probably trade in the $3,500 to have Damien Williams active for the 2020 season.
Devin, I think maybe it is because Socrdave's gain is turned down so low that I just can't hear him. I just hear like a mouse whispering, and maybe that's why what he said went right past me.
You're working on all your articles like Davis does.
Yeah, you see me hard at work over here.
So let's talk about the Shady McCoy news first, because this was, I don't know. I feel like after they did not sign Devonta Freeman, like we were in the clear, and I've been getting Vaughn in the 8th, like almost every draft, and then this news is like, I don't know, he's gonna plummet. I saw a late round QB said he's going to fall to the 13th, his ADP, and he's there for it. And sure, like I feel like I'm just going to keep on drafting him the lower he falls. But having those shares of him in the 8th round do not feel good right now.
Okay, I just need this. Okay, I was not on Twitter when this news broke, and so I missed all the initial reactions. But everyone is massively overreacting to this. LeSean McCoy was getting load managed down the stretch last year on the best offensive in football and played 1 snap throughout the entire playoffs on the best offense in football. He could not succeed in the best offense in football. It's now 9 months later? How in the hell does anyone think LeSean McCoy is stealing any meaningful touches from anyone in this backfield? This is a gift to both Rojo and Keyshawn Vaughn truthers, because we're going to get them at cheaper prices now. LeSean McCoy is not going to be a factor.
Here's the thing. And then Davis, you can chime in. I love, for a variety of reasons, Keyshawn Vaughn. He's a mid-state guy here.
A variety of reasons.
Vanderbilt.
One of the big reasons.
Vanderbilt kid, just a great attitude, perseveres, and has the skill set to just crush it in Tampa Bay. Can we drink at the same time for a future gift?
Well, I was tilting that Pete has fresh coffee at his desk, and mine's dusty.
I do too. If you know what a Sensa is, it's like a European coffee. That's,
oh my god, it's just like.
Anyways,
go run a lap, bro.
How much sugar do you have in that thing, dude?
It's no sugar. I'm still in my intermittent fast, bro. Eating window hasn't opened up yet. Okay. Anyways, Keyshawn Vaughn. Let's get back to Keyshawn. Just look at some of the things that happened. You've got COVID, right? Pushing things back. You've got him testing positive for COVID. You've got the reports that he was not on the he's basically going to be the backup on 1st and 2nd downs to Rojo, and then Dare is going to have 3rd downs. And now you got Shady McCoy in there as well. Like, as much as I love Vaughn, there just seemed to be like roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And that's why I'm concerned.
I think again, the old best ball versus managed leagues thing or whatever, but for specifically managed leagues, you have to be absolutely thrilled to be able to get a guy like Vaughn in the 12th and 13th round now, because you can bide your time with him there. And down the stretch, if he becomes the guy in the money weeks for the fantasy playoffs, you're going to love that price. And that's historically too, where, Alvin Kamara's rookie year, he was in the 10th, 11th round. Nick Chubb was in that round. It's when we have to pay these, DeAndre Swift, Dobbins prices that it can get dicey, but there's no risk in the 12th or 13th with Vaughn. I think it's an incredible buy.
Are you predicting league winner Keyshawn Vaughn?
I'm not going to go that far.
Davis,
I actually think this makes it much more likely that I would draft Vaughn than I was before. I was drafting Vaughn before when he would fall to like the 10th, but if Keyshawn Vaughn is there and I can take him instead of AJ Dillon, I can take him instead of Darrell Henderson. I kind of view him very. Henderson has more standalone value. Vaughn is probably more contingent value.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He landed in a great spot, and agree that his value is going to keep going up. But I'm moving like guys like Darius Geis over him. So
yeah, I think you just buy the dip. And I think it's going to work out well, because Rojo is getting way too pricey. He's going late 4th, early 5th. He's now
if we can get Rojo back in like the 7th now, that would be the perfect reaction to this news.
Yeah. I think it's all going to be okay. I mean, I know we can get burned. Someone in the chat saying Arians likes crappy old running backs. The Andre Ellington, what was it? Chris Johnson story.
Chris Johnson during the David Johnson season, when David Johnson's first NFL touch went for a touchdown and then he stayed on the bench for 7 more weeks.
Yeah. I don't know how you look at LeSean McCoy and think that you could give him more than 1 or 2 touches a game. I don't even know how.
Bucks spent a 3rd rounder on Vaughn. I mean,
because he can pass block, bro.
They've got draft capital under Arians too. So, all right. So we're all in on Keyshawn Vaughn.
I'm not all in, but he now joins that the premium tier of Antonio Gibson, Darrington Evans, Tony Pollard, Boston Scott, Chase Edmonds, of like guys that you were hoping to get 11th round or later.
Yeah, I still think he goes above, like, as much as I love Pollard, Pollard's path to success is someone getting hurt.
Yeah, it's entirely contingent value, but no player in the league benefits more from an injury than Tony Pollard. He would be, if Ezekiel Elliott got injured and the Cowboys didn't sign Devonta Freeman or Lamar Miller or someone of that ilk and just ran with Jordan Chunn and Rico Dowdle, he would go number 3 overall in high stakes leagues.
All right. So let's shift now to the other running back, the one that poured ice on your junk, Davis. Damien Williams. Now you kind of have to see the genius of Andy Reid drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire with the 1st round pick, right?
No, but it is brutal for my specific position, obviously, because I have Damien in all of these dynasty leagues. Luckily, though, I did do the Mattek thing of like realizing I was wrong immediately and then drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire wherever possible. Like I actually did a trade with Pete where I gave up a little bit of extra draft capital to trade Jonathan Taylor for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, because I just realized like they're just telling us right now they don't give a shit about Damien, and it's all about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Unfortunately, in some of the leagues I do actually care about, Damien dropped like very low. I just did my FFPC Pros versus Joe's draft on Monday, and Damien fell all the way to the 10th pick of the 7th round. So he goes 2 rounds after ADP, but I'm really I'm just retrospectively wishing that someone would have sniped him from me. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah,
what can you do?
The having shares, this is the first big one, right? We saw the Patriots defensive players opt out, but this is the first one where it's like, wow, I am taking a 0 there in all those best ball drafts I've already made. And that's hard to stomach. That said, I do think, don't we see that they're going to bring in another body eventually. Like,
yeah, you better hope Andy Reid is not calling Lamar Miller right now.
Well, that's the thing. If Lamar Miller or Devonta Freeman comes back in, these people paying, top 3 running back prices for Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to look really silly. So I don't know. I definitely think you've got to move CEH up, definitely. But you still got to be realistic in where you're doing it. I think he falls in that Miles Sanders, Kenyon Drake range at the back end of the first.
So if we do want to look on the bright side, though, we've got another premium 0 RB semi standalone, huge contingent value guy in DeAndre Washington, where we now probably can pencil DeAndre Washington in for 50 to 75 carries, some rational amount of targets where he'll have enough standalone value to maybe be one of those guys that in a 0 RB construction, you actually can start as your running back 2 some weeks, but then massive contingent value, similar to actually how he played in Oakland last year, where he was getting some touches in the regular flow of the game. But then when Josh Jacobs was banged up, DeAndre Washington actually was playing over Jalen Richard.
All right. So where are the target rounds for DeAndre Washington? In some slow draft leagues, I got him like in the 16th, 17th. But I think as like 14th is probably okay as well. Like how high would you be willing to draft D-Wash?
I think you put him in the Boston Scott tier now. I think you can take him in the 12th, 13th, 14th round.
Boston Scott's a very good comp, I think, for both situation, type of player. Yeah. I think I wouldn't fault anyone for taking him as early as the 12th round.
I would rather have him over Boston Scott.
And as Levitan tweeted, shower narrative, DeAndre Washington and Patrick Mahomes, college teammates at Texas Tech.
They played together for 2 seasons.
And the other thing that just makes you want to like DeAndre Washington more is, last year the Chiefs had the chaos in the backfield. They had Shady, they had Darwin, they had Darrell, and they did not want to trust Darrell or Darwin. Like, they had the opportunities. Darrell flashed a little bit, but they did not trust those guys. So bringing in DeAndre Washington kind of speaks to that. And I think it's pretty logical that he's going to be the next man up after CEH.
Yeah. I saw, I think it was JJ again saying that, people are talking about how you can't draft a rookie or someone on a new team because of lack of training camp, lack of, the playbook, knowledge of the playbook, that sort of thing, the system. But then also people are clamoring for CEH as a top 3 pick. That is interesting as we go further along with the COVID stuff. Like, Davis, how are you managing the players on new teams or the rookies compared to the people that are already established but might not have the upside?
I'm giving a little bit of bump to continuity for sure, but I'm not avoiding these rookies, especially the ones that are just heading into this absurd vacuum of volumes. Like, specifically, I'm talking about Jalen Reagor and Laviska Shenault, who are just heading into these situations where, as long as they prove to be competent over the second half of the season, they could be like 9 target a game guys, just because of the massive role that's waiting there for them. And we know that running back is the easiest position to play. So just being a rookie there doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, I get, it's the tired cliche at this point, the rookies are going to start slow, blah, 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 blah. I think it's completely mitigated by the revolving door that these teams are going to have with scratches and sickness and injuries. I mean, these guys are going to get opportunities. I was even, Pat is always sending me screenshots of The Athletic, and the Philly beat reporter was talking about how the coaches know that they're going to have to evaluate these guys quicker, and if a guy flashes in practice, that might be enough just off of 1 or 2 practices to thrust him into a bigger role. So as everyone knows, they're working under different circumstances, and ultimately these teams want to win, and they invest draft capital in these guys, and they're talented, athletic dudes. They're going to get them onto the field, especially in a chaotic season like this one. So I'm not worried about it.
Are you concerned about spending a lot of draft capital for like a running back because of this, or does it matter the position, Davis?
No, because it's just, you just hand the guy the ball and then he runs. Like we see guys come off the street who literally don't know the playbook, who start for Super Bowl teams. Like it just doesn't matter.
And it has more to do, just the opportunity cost doesn't really have anything to do with them being a rookie. It's like when you're having to draft Dobbins, Akers, Swift there in the 5th and 6th round, you're passing over really good wide receivers in that range. That's where the opportunity cost is. And that's why the cheaper rookie running backs, the Zach Moss, now Keyshawn Vaughn, Darrington Evans, Gibson, the guys that you can get cheap without having to pass over stud wide receivers, that's where you load up, because one of those guys, and maybe multiple of them, will probably hit in a pretty decent way.
Oh, man. As long as we have an NFL season, I don't care. I don't care. All my best ball teams could fail. They're not.
No, I do not sign up for this. I think I would rather have the season canceled than just take an absolute wash in all these leagues.
I'm with Dave. Just give me the season. I don't care.
Because we have these new weekly contests, Davis, that you can go sign up on DraftKings or FanDuel.
Wow, Kitchen is taking my joke and turning it back on me. I love it.
Hey, God, I do want to circle back to a chat. Someone was late to your guys' Millie Maker conversation, and I think you guys have to address this. He says, you guys win the Millie, but you spend $100K trying to do so. I'm sure overall you guys are down money. Care to answer this, Millie Maker winners?
I think everyone who knows me knows that I spend at least $100K a slate. So, so I think that this online criticizer has it accurate. Yeah.
Davis, I was surprised, first of all, that you were playing on FanDuel, because you even I don't know how many times we try to get you to play on FanDuel during the football season, saying that there is some soft action there.
Can't ignore the overlay, dude. There was as plus EV as that NBA contest was on opening day of baseball. FanDuel ran a $1 million to first contest for $3 that did not even get 30% full. It was probably the most plus EV contest in the history of daily fantasy sports. Yeah. And I max entered that. So I have money left over from that, which is why I did the NBA.
Yeah. Did you max enter it?
Yes.
There you go. See? Look at us. Just a few max entry GPP guys. Look at us.
I'm taking Norm's side now.
Pete's about that max entry MMA life. He knows all the rules and the groups for the MMA. He's a big MMA guy.
Here's where I'm at with that. I would love to play everything. The news driven sports where the slate gets, shook up on a moment's notice. Those are hard because you got to devote a lot of time. And the way the NBA slates are now structured, like what is it? Today's kicking off at 2:30. You got to be at your computer.
The common man is literally drawing dead to be profitable at NBA this year. If you are not sitting at your laptop for 7 hours a night, you will not win an NBA in the restart.
Yeah, it's concerning.
And they also gave a $10 ticket to everybody.
$25 ticket to everybody.
I'm talking about on FanDuel.
Oh,
so it's like as far as there's some fishy money out there right now, and that is where we take care of it. All right. Will any QBs opt out because of
this? Is the biggest question, I think.
And so usually I've been doing the two, I say cash games, we're not really cash games. You're trying to win your league. They're the non-best ball mania teams on Underdog. But I've been doing usually 2, 6, 8, 2 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 8 receivers.
I think you should probably be getting a third tight end in the cash games.
Well, most of my tight ends are I don't
Kittle, Kelsey, Andrews.
Yeah, they're I don't go past Ingram or Waller generally, and so if they are crappy tight ends, yes, I'll get a third. But I'm starting to think about some of these QBs that are left for basically free in the 17th and 18th rounds. You've got Phillip Rivers, Tyrod Taylor, some of the rookie quarterbacks as well, because it just seems like awfully good insurance if some of these quarterbacks opt out or they get, they get quarantined for a couple of weeks. What's your thoughts on shifting roster construction ideals, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, I've said multiple times about, running backs are going to benefit the most in fantasy from this season. I think it really comes down to that whole thing, the same kind of handcuff idea, right? Are you trying to raise your floor? If you're in a 12-team league and you're just trying to get into the playoffs or whatever, and you're trying to handcuff, go for it. But if you're in these large field things, you can't be wasting roster spots on handcuffs. You got to throw a dart at each individual who has massive upside in that specific scenario. So it is concerning, if you're in dynasty leagues and you want to start adding some of these backup quarterbacks for free off the waiver wire to protect yourself, go for it. But in these contests with a ton of money up top, you just are hoping for the nut outcome anyways, and you can't worry about downside.
Yeah, I think the better way to approach it is to, I've tried this a couple times, just going the mega fragile approach at running back and just taking like 4 dudes, like starting with Derrick Henry, going Aaron Jones, James Conner, Chris Carson, and then taking only those 4 guys and ignoring it from that point on.
Yeah. And it speaks to the biggest mistake people make in drafts and across almost all formats, DFS, best ball, or whatever, is they are trying to limit their downside risk.
Yeah, they're trying not to lose.
That's why everyone wants the nice starting lineup, that fills out all the positions. It's why they want a handcuff. And it's like, no, we are trying to nail everything just perfectly. We don't have to worry about downside at all.
Yeah. Pete, I appreciate you giving GPP tips, not being intimidated by being on the show with 2 million winners, that you feel confident enough that you can give those tips to the people.
Well, if anyone knows about downside risk, check out my bankroll challenge series on RotoGrinders. Just a plummeting graph through the whole season. So I think I'm uniquely qualified to speak about punting off money because you haven't baked in downside risk.
Name it and claim it. We have it's like there are weeks in DFS where there are just so many landmines, right? Like zeros, people getting hurt, concussed early on, just a lot of landmines. And sometimes it's just about avoiding the landmines to cash in a tournament. But in these big tournaments, you have to avoid the landmines and you have to hit home runs with these guys. And so, we talk about the Swolecast. I'm just going big time with these best ball drafts. Davis, I wish that you understood how it was with these underdog drafts. I want you to just move to a state for another state for a week or so.
I'm working on my VPN stuff. We're gonna get it figured out.
Dave, you said your family had moved out for a little bit. Why don't you have Davis come live in the basement? You two, just a couple of bros drafting underdog teams.
just couple bros, best ball mania bros.
I would pay so much to subscribe to that reality TV show of Kitchen and Davis living together.
Did you know that was one of my $1 million ideas?
This was one of Dave spent some of those DFS winnings on developing a reality TV show called The DFS House, and his idea was just that somehow these men who are only interested in snacking and looking at their laptops would somehow be good TV.
At the time there were some interesting guys. Now, guys that have made the news, have made the Daily Beast. Those were some of the names I had in mind.
Daily Beast. Some true patriots.
But it was having it all be competition and having where all the people in the house, you could see it was kind of like the MTV Real World mixed with what became the, popular with the challenge stuff. So someone else can do it and make their millions. I've already won the Millie Maker. Really, it's just everything else on top of this is gravy.
No, I think you just kind of actually spelled out the show. It's everyone who won the Millie last night in a 3-bedroom house. And we record that.
And then the winner, everyone pulls their money and the winner actually gets the million.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
See?
Well, yeah. No, I was talking my buddy Brian Hooper, Brick75. His idea was for chops is that the sites had a randomizer function, and everyone just agreed to get put in, and a randomizer just spits out who gets the million. So you would have had a 1 in 300 shot at $1 million or whatever, as opposed to your share. Would you opt into a randomizer spit out for that, or are you taking your profits off the table?
I would be in. I'd be in for the roulette spin, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kitchen's like, you know how much R&D I can get done with $3,500?
I don't know. I would say that like it's different, right? Because I've played credit card roulette way above my
Oh
means.
my God. I played credit card roulette in Vegas with like 18 dudes once, and me and Dink were the last ones left. And I was preparing my exit. Like I was like, this is going to be the worst thing to ever happen to me.
For those that don't know, credit card roulette is when the entire bill you have, you give all your credit cards to the waiter in a hat, and then he pulls out the cards. And if he pulls out your card, you don't have to pay for it. So the one card that's left is the one that you have to pay for it. So this was during like the DK Pro days when I was a DraftKings professional. And
now you're just a FanDuel professional.
So this was like with like Jason Robbins, and these guys just got like, I mean, they were not hurting for money. And these bills were like $4 or $5K. And I'm just thinking, like, in my mind for that, it was like, I've got an 8% chance of paying for this, but a 92% chance of getting like a $200 meal for free. So why not? Like that was the risk I was willing to take. I'm not sure in this case it would be like the opposite. I'd probably just take my winnings.
So your big Millie Maker win was enough to barely cover one credit card roulette dinner, is what you're saying?
we're in different phases of life now.
I did have to pay once when it was only like 6 of us, and it hurt. It hurt real bad. What can you do? These guys really like to drink their wine. They really like to drink expensive wine. That's a big thing about DFS players.
All right. As far as like legit or bit, there will be more than one. Let's just set the number of starting quarterbacks at a half. Opts out for COVID-related reasons.
Over.
Yeah, I'll take the over.
I just did a podcast with Rich, and he made the point, why wouldn't Aaron Rodgers do it? Just a big ol' FU to the Green Bay Packers.
I think he's a competitor.
Exactly. These guys, they would be bored out of their mind. It's why Tom Brady didn't retire and just go out, with the Patriots legacy. Is they can't fathom doing anything else other than playing football.
Yeah. And they're like, I agree. I think it's under. I don't think there will be a starting quarterback that opts out. You got like the Titans. I'm not sure if you heard about Vic Beasley that came over from the Falcons. So he has said that he's not reported to camp and said that he might opt out. And it's going to be interesting because if he does, the Titans, like he can opt out and supposedly take this $8 million signing bonus and then just opt out. So the Titans are on the hook for the signing bonus, and then he can just go somewhere else next year. So I
hope all the free agents who are in that spot just completely turn the screws to the team and then just are like, later, bro. It's a pleasure doing business.
The favorite ones I have are the ones that are not even with the team and are opting out. It's like I too am opting out. It's like they don't even have a team that they're assigned to.
I wonder too if we're gonna get the classic no, I broke up with you first thing. With if teams are letting people go and they're like, can my PR guy just say I opted out before you guys cut me? Because that would really help me out a little bit.
Darwin Thompson has opted out of the 2020 NFL season as he loses his spot to Elijah McGuire. Yeah. Elijah McGuire, good name to know.
The one QB opt-out rumor I had seen was the Nick Foles one. which would be really interesting if we all got another spin with Trubisky because everyone just left him for dead. So getting Trubisky again would be pretty fun, especially all the people who have been overdrafting Allen Robinson in the late second, early third because they have somehow convinced themselves that Nick Foles is such a huge upgrade over Trubisky. That would be a really fun turn of events for them.
The Allen Robinson thing is really spun on its head. Everyone is patting themselves on the back so hard for drafting him last year that they're like, yeah, let's draft Allen Robinson in the third round. That seems good. Let's just go ahead and do that.
All right, one last legit or bit, and we got to get out of here. Legit or bit, Le'Veon Bell has the potential to be a top 10
absolute bit. Absolute bit.
Hey, I didn't even hear what Dave said. Top 10?
Top 10 running back this year.
A chance, yes. But do you want to qualify it with a good chance so I can say bit, or do you just want to say chance and I'm forced to say
does
legit?
He have the upside?
I hate this question.
He had 0 plays of 20 yards or more last year. 0. Legit or a bit, Tuttle's actually been here the entire time. He just really didn't want to talk about football today.
Yeah, actually, should we throw it to Tuttle and get his thoughts on Le'Veon? No, be quiet. I can't hear him.
Interesting.
Yeah. No,
Tuttle not on Le'Veon. Yeah.
Oh man. All right.
To answer your question, Dave, yes, there are worlds in multiverses where Le'Veon Bell is a top 10 back, but I'm not touching him with a 10-foot pole in drafts.
He could go full Leonard Fournette, 110 targets, 90 receptions, 317 yards.
If this is a safe space and I can admit something, I've been drafting him as some RB2s in the late 5th and 6th rounds. I mean, I just think that spot for him has the potential. Like, he does have the upside there.
Dave, so I've seen some of your drafts and you're telling me like your Scott Fishbowl draft. And I know basically what I see these drafts that Dave is like, I can go 0 RB. I could do it. And then he gets to the 4th round and he sees Le'Veon
and he's like,
Bell,
but I don't have a running back. David
Johnson. He's like, I need the parachute. I'm too scared to do it.
I'm going to be, today was like how I won the Millie Maker, basically. I will be unveiling how I plan to win the underdog Millie as well.
The underdog 200K, which was more than we made together times 10 in the Millie Maker last night.
I really hope we don't split the Millie Maker on underdog, because that would mean
I think the chances of you and I overlapping in seasonal fantasy are very low.
Yeah, if you saw my top, I don't know, that would be interesting as far as like if you saw the top people I drafted and you guys have to guess like out of a pool of players who are the top players that I have drafted. That would be a very fun game. All right.
Let's guess. Let's guess who everyone. Okay. First off, who do we guess, Peter, is the most drafted player for Kitchen this year?
So I guess the only data point I'll use is Dave has been drafting some wide receivers there in the 3rd, 4th round. He loves AJ Brown. We all love AJ Brown. I could see AJ Brown being one of his highest exposure players.
I was going to guess Darius Geis as being
that's another good one.
Because Kitchen, he wants to have that screenshot equity of sending out the comfortable lineup, and you can get Geis in the 8th.
Yeah. The issue with Geis is that he's in the same range as Vaughn. So it's tough to get
so chopping it up there.
So if you said Vaughn,
okay,
you'd be right.
Who do we think Pete's most owned player is, Kitchen?
Oh, I guess it would depend on the format, but
there is a guy I've drafted in basically every draft.
I think it's the same for both you and I.
Davis knows it from the chip chasing, but can you guess it? I'll give you a clue. It's a rookie. I'll give you another clue. It's a rookie wide receiver.
Is it LaVisca?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same for both Pete and I.
Been gobbling him up.
Yeah.
Visca.
I'm seeing a bunch of my drafts kind of like be put the same way. Pollard is a guy that I have a lot of. Like, I don't want to. I hope that nothing happens to Zeke. But if something does, then I will be in very good shape.
For just once, I want an analyst to talk about their 0 RB handcuff in just a purely opportunistic way. I don't care who goes down. I don't know whose knees have to get blown out for me to get a Tony Pollard running back one season.
There are like levels of like the brutality of what you're wishing to get your wish. So it's like, I hope it's not like a serious injury, but like it's like something minor.
Well, I kind of hope Zeke succumbs to his alcoholism and has to go get help in season. Well, that's not actually true.
Yeah.
Well, that's like Sean Siegel, because everyone always asks him about the 0 running back targets, and he always has to preface it. It's like a disclaimer. I am not a financial advisor. I am not rooting for any running backs to get injured.
I'm not rooting for specific running backs to get injured, just for historical trends of injuries to running backs actually continuing. But specifically, I don't wish anyone ill will.
All right. So final thoughts, Pete.
Have fun out there. Congrats to you guys. It's an honor. In this industry, I try to surround myself with winners and people I can learn from, and getting to do this show with 2 Millie Maker winners, it's humbling. It's really humbling.
I got to put FD Millie Maker winner in my bio now.
Yeah.
Semi-pro DFS player like old David Kitchen.
I would, but I don't want I'm pretty sure my wife has a burner account out there, and I don't want her to think that something's up. I want to keep on thinking that I need all these deposits.
Yeah, she can't take you away from the R&D money, that sweet R&D money. Kitchen, always an entrepreneur.
I'm
the undercover deposit king.
I was just gonna say, if your wife wants to see a true deposit king, send her my info.
Do not. All right. Well, that will do it for the Swolecast. Pockets on Swole. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Swolecast on YouTube, and then subscribe on iTunes. We have our separate feed as well. Thanks to everyone on the show, Tuttle, Davis, and my former, the non-Millie Maker winner, I guess I should say, Peter Overzet. Thanks to Devin for producing the show. We'll see you next week here on the Swolecast and RotoGrinders.com.